Leigh Meinert van Hospice kuier vanoggend saam om oor die Hospice-week te gesels en sy vertel wat hulle tydens die week gedoen het. So good morning Leigh, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Bright and early on a Monday.
Leigh, I would like to start by asking you, what is the Hospice Palliative Care Association?
We are a member organization, so we represent most of the hospices in South Africa. We have 99 hospice members in every single province in the country. One of our roles is to oversee standards, to make sure that if you go to or access the services of a hospice that is one of our members, that you're getting the highest standards of care. To support that, we provide training. But my job in particular, and one of the services that we provide to our hospice members, is to promote awareness about hospices. Death and dying is not something we're often comfortable speaking about. People have misunderstandings about hospices, which hopefully will clear up today. And so we really want people to understand what hospices are, the amazing work they do, and how people can access our members' services.
Leigh, it's your name here, and it's exactly what you say. I want to just quickly look at the history of hospice, but the moment you hear the word hospice, it is like not a dark feeling, but a sad feeling. It feels like, sure, people are in trouble. And that's a mindset that we need to change.
Exactly. You think hospice, you think, oh my goodness, I'm going to die. The person who's going to hospice is going to die. This means the end. And that's one of the first misconceptions we want to clear up. What we are experts in at hospices is promoting quality of life. We can support with death and dying, and we do, but number one, the hospice philosophy is that of quality of life. And so we encourage people at the point of diagnosis of a life-threatening illness, and COVID is a life-threatening illness. I mean, we're surrounded by many challenges right now. That's the time to contact a hospice, because we have nurses, social workers, spiritual counselors, doctors. We have a team of people who are ready to help ensure that while you and your family are grappling with this incredibly scary thing, that there can still be quality of life. You don't need to have physical pain. You don't need to be anxious. We can hold your hands through this. And it doesn't necessarily mean that at the end of this, you're going to die. More than 60% of people who access hospice services recover. And if indeed it does mean death at the end of the day, we can make the most of that time together. And those are some of the reasons to be not scared of a hospice, but to be reaching out.
Absolutely. Leigh, what exactly is palliative care, and what are some of the misconceptions?
That's a lovely question. Thank you. So palliative care, number one, is holistic and patient-centered. And so it's quite radical and it's quite powerful. It's kind of medicine as we all wished it would be, really, where the patient is at the center and one's patient-led. So one's guided by what the patient's wishes are. And then around that is physical care. So it's the pain management and the symptom control, but it's also emotional care. So helping someone sort of, and their families as well, engage with their anxieties, process the fear and other complex feelings. There's also spiritual care. We bring in the spiritual dimension as well. We look after people's mental health, and we also employ social workers. I often say sometimes the most practical things we do is this disease that someone has ridden them disabled. We hold the hands, we go and we get that disability grant. So the family has some money to tide them through this time. So it's not you're stuck in a hospital bed and you are sort of all alone being treated as a body. You're being treated as a whole human being, you and your family. Oh, there's a little lurker coming to see the interview. Hello, my sweetheart. And you're treated holistically as a human together with your family. So one is it's holistic care. That was a long answer. The other one is it's a team-based approach. No one person can provide this kind of palliative care. And thirdly, it's at the point of diagnosis. So we really want to emphasize that. It's not just about, oh goodness, you're going to die, let's relieve your suffering. Ideally, palliative care is this kind of wraparound team-based care that is that comes in at the point of diagnosis of a life-threatening illness.
Leigh, we're going to chat a little bit later about the day of, Hospice-week and Voices of Love campaign. But on a practical level, I just want to find out. Hospice for me, and I've never been to a hospice actually, but for me, the first thing that comes to mind is it's a house somewhere.
Yes.
And it's people, and you go to that house. But on a practical level, how does it work? Is there a hospice in a hospital, or is it privately owned? Is it an organization that controls everything? Just a practical background, or how does it work, hospice?
Thank you. That's another lovely question, because people often think, oh, it's a place. But 94% of the care that our hospice members provide is provided in people's homes. So there's another misconception. Oh, hospice is a place, and sometimes hospice is a place you go to when you give up all hope. No, hospices can provide home-based care and help the families learn how to care for their ill loved one. And we come to your home. I mean, when you are in great discomfort and distress and facing a life-threatening illness, isn't home the place you'd love to be most? So we can enable that. We can facilitate, and we do 94% of the time. So really, we speak about hospice as more of a philosophy than a place. It's a way of making the most of life. We're actually experts in quality of life, not in dying, if that makes sense. And we know how to help people make the most of their living, and if needs be, at the end, they're dying too.
Well, Leigh, we are looking forward to the rest of this interview. So bly gerus ingeskakel daarvoor. Ons gaan voort met vanoggend se gesprek met Leigh Meinert van Hospice, wat saam kuier om oor die Hospice-week te gesels, en sy vertel ook wat hulle tydens hierdie week gedoen het. So, good morning, and once again I would like to thank you for joining us, Leigh.
Thank you. Hello again.
Now, Leigh, it is the last day of Hospice Week, so what did you hope to achieve through this commemorative week?
So we hope to achieve two things. One is just to raise awareness about what hospices do, and again, have more opportunities to talk about the misconceptions. We covered some of those earlier, that hospice isn't a place you go to die and give up hope. Hospices represent an approach to life and a quality of living, and about making the most of life and things like that. So one, we wanted to promote awareness about what we do, and that hospices are not scary places to be avoided. Number two, we wanted to profile some of the people and the partnerships that make this so special, and really just raise up, as you can see there on the screen, our nurses, our carers, people call them angels. They're pretty close to angels. And more than just profiling them, sharing what they've learned. I mean, these are people who sit by the bedsides of people and their scariest moments when and what have they learned? So we're sharing and profiling more than anything else in this Hospice Week.
Mm-hmm. Leigh, it's your name again, and we've got feedback from one of our viewers, Errol, that said that he only supports two permanent organizations, and it's Hospice and the SPCA, and he had a very, very good experience with Hospice. But on a personal note, you totally changed my view on Hospice, and I can't believe it that I only realized what you told me this morning. I had such a misconception about Hospice. So what is the Voices of Love campaign?
So Voices of Love is a way to, raise up our care workers, essentially. During this COVID, haven't we all just developed a completely new appreciation for the people at the frontline and what it takes? So we're really celebrating, number one, our nurses and carers who work in our 99-member hospices across the country. But two, we're also sharing their wisdom. These are people who've sat by the bedsides of hundreds and thousands of people as they're dying, who's counseled family members. So what keeps them going? What have they learned? What can we learn from these amazing angels, as it were? So we've gathered 69 stories, and they're all on our website, and we're profiling them through our social media channels right up until Wednesday, which is International Nurses Day. And that's essentially what we're trying to do with the Hospice Voices of Love campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Leigh, I'm just curious, how did you end up doing what you do? Your own journey?
What a lovely question. Well, I mean, give you the honest answer, I worked in education, which I think is an incredibly meaningful field for a very long time. And I dreamed of starting a school, and I got to. And then I found myself granted more life, and I had realized one dream, and I thought, well, what would the next most meaningful thing be that I could do with my life? And for me, it was working in the field of people who were coming towards the end of their lives or grieving loved ones. I think there's nothing that's more of a leveler that makes us more human than grappling with that. And I think so many of us shy away from death. We don't want to think it's going to happen to us. We panic when it happens to other people. But turning towards it and engaging with it and looking what death can teach us, I think is incredibly powerful. And although I'm still in my 40s, I think it's important to be engaging with death throughout our lives. And so I wanted to go and work with people as they were coming to the end of their lives, quite selfishly, really, so that I could live the best quality life that I could. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and it's you're such an inspirational woman. I think I'm speaking on behalf of myself and Jorna as well. I would also like to ask you, what partnerships do you have and do you hope to gain?
So a very important partnership is with government. We started with one hospice in 1987. We now have 99 members. But even the hospices alone can't begin to provide the kind of palliative care that is necessary. So right now, probably only about 12% of the South African population is able to access quality palliative care. So that's 88% of people and their families who are not getting the care that they need at the most critical time in their lives, the most scary time in their lives. And hospices can't do it on their own. So we're working with the National Department of Health. We're working with all the provincial governments. We're trying to ensure that doctors, nurses, social workers, psychologists who are employed in government get this training, understand what palliative care is, know how to intervene and how to refer. We obviously... our partnerships in our communities are key. Every hospice is operating as an NGO. It's operating on love and goodwill. And so we need the support of the communities, the businesses, the peoples, the individuals in the communities to help us keep our doors open. And I would say our government partnerships and our community partnerships are probably two of our key partnerships.
Leigh, I've seen now that, with hospice, it's about 120,000 people a year that you reach and work with. And I'm just curious, on a professional level, if you say, if I was now a psychiatrist to say, I will volunteer my service as a professional or a doctor, but can someone that is retired and just wants to sit with someone, just wants to reach out, is there room for professionals and just like me? I just want to volunteer to go sit with a woman, Tannie, and just chat with them about the past or whatever.
Absolutely, and that's pretty much how I started. And so we provide training for ordinary people, as it were, like you and I, who are like, actually, this is something I'd like to engage with and maybe even help people. I think it's a beautiful wish and desire. And so, yes, we always need volunteers in a range of places. Sometimes quite practical, like, can you come and help in our charity shop? But sometimes it is sitting with a Tannie. So we will support you. We will help you, provide training. Retired doctors, nurses, we can always use the help. And again, this is about making sure that the people who need care at a scary time in their lives are getting it. These are people who are probably state sector dependent. These are people who can't walk to clinics. So how do we get the care to them in their homes? And without volunteers, we wouldn't be able to do it. It really is a team-based approach.
There's a question from one of our viewers that says that they're just curious, if you want to be treated through hospice or help, do you pay for it? Is there membership fees? Do you need to become a member? Yeah, so just a practical to answer that.
I'm delighted that we're at the practical level. People are already asking, how do I access it? So no, there's no membership fees. It's not like the AA or something, or you need to be a card-carrying member. On our website, hpca.co.za, we have a hospice finder. You can go and find the nearest hospice to you. We do, and I'm delighted that increasingly we're working with the medical aid. So if you have a medical aid, your medical aid will probably pay for you to access hospice services. And like I say, it's a wraparound holistic service that encourages encompasses your family. So it's really the best kind of care you could get. But your medical aid probably will pay if you do. And if you don't, we will never turn you away. I mean, that's why we operate as an NGO, and that's why we rely on community donations, and we do a lot of fundraising. You know, we won't turn anybody away, and there should be no barriers. Our passion is providing care to people at scary times in their lives, and nothing will get in the way of us doing that, essentially.
Leigh, thank you so much for what you are doing, and we really appreciate the time that you've made to speak to us about this very important matter this morning. So dit was dan Leigh Meinert van Hospice.
Dit was nou, hoe lekker is dit om maandag te begin met, dit voel net vir my, sy is net so 'n goeie mens. Maar daai vraag het gekom van Diek Koekemoer oor die ledegeld, so dankie vir die vrae en die saam kuier Diek. Kom ons gaan